Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Really testing out my new tripod here. It's Friday night, so I decided to let me see how my new tripod is working, and I wanted to say, let me got the OJ's playing in the background, but seriously, like I put in my status here, fellas, learn to listen to your wife, man. As y'all know, I'm in grad school. I've said it often, and sometimes you can get so wrapped up in your feelings that you can get so wrapped up in your feelings that you don't listen. And so what I've come to learn is that when it comes to school, I know that my wife has my back, and I know that she has my best interest in mind. So with that being said, I had to condition myself to listen, because I would turn around and be caught up in my own feelings and decide I'm not going to do something, or I'm going to do something, and I have come to learn to listen to my significant other. So I would definitely say, if you don't have a wife, fellas, learn that one of the advantages and positives to having a wife you're so right. Listen to your wife. Mine's have a dummy wrong and women in love. I ain't gonna say they know best now. Where's mine? Let me look around first. No, but actually the motherly instinct is something that's God given, and it is something that is in effect at all times. And so when your wife is connected to you, which she should be, and you should be connected to her, what happens is when emotions and different things get you bent out of shape where you can't see, her motherly intuition and her God-given gift to nurture kicks in. So then she's actually using her God-given ability to help calm you, or to help you see what you can't see. Now the real question is, are you going to listen to God and allow that ability to do what it was designed to do? And that was to steer you away from negative feelings, negative situations, and of course, in the end, trouble. And so, like tonight, I was sitting here and I'm like, this paper is due Sunday. I got a long day and a half, almost 2 days to get it done. And I'm right where I need to be, but I'm frustrated. So the first thing Tiff was like, don't stress. And then as she started to explain to me why I shouldn't stress, she started to paint a different picture than the one that I had. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Sha. So what you have to realize, and men have to realize, is that a woman being a helpmate, that's a gift. That's a God-given gift. And that when activated, she is tapping right into the power of the Lord. Now, a lot of folks may not believe that. A lot of folks may not understand that. And if you don't, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you don't understand. But the one thing I can tell you is that you don't ask any man who in a crisis situation has had the opportunity to listen to his wife to help get him focused, has it not turned out to the positive? It does. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. When a man allows his woman to give him the information needed when he's going to go out and act it out, it works out. And so, again, I wanted to try out my new tripod here so I can finally be hands-free, tired of holding my phone. But what's going on, sir? How are you? How you been? And so it's very important, because we don't have conversations often about the type of relationships that we should have, and how intricate the husband-wife bond really is. And I'm not talking boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm not talking about boyfriend or girlfriend, if you're living one place and she's living somewhere else and y'all are playing house, I'm sorry, I'm not co-signing to that. Now, I'm not saying that you don't love your boyfriend. I'm not saying you don't love your girlfriend. It is a different thing to when you and your wife, you and your husband. I'm good, sir. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. Just doing what I got to do. I don't live in New York no more. I'm here in Delaware. Moved the family to Delaware and just making it happen. But one of the things that you have to realize is that when you're playing house, God is not present. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. That makes me feel great. And I tried to give you guys all that I could. So I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate the comment. And I am so glad to see all of you guys grown up and doing well. And I like to believe that I had something to do with that. So you make sure that you keep doing the right things. And if there's anything I can help with, I'm still here. I'm only an email away. And you guys that are, here's my email address. Let me give it to y'all. If y'all are wild, let me just, there we go. That's my email address. If you need me, main office at bravenpublishing.com. So don't be a stranger. Reach out if you need anything, a reference letter, whatever. I'm still here. Mr. B is still here. I ain't doing nothing. But seriously, if you're married, you understand what I'm saying. And if you're going through something right now in your marriage, I'm sorry. And you got to work it out. You got to fix it. Because once you fix it, what's the matter, baby? Okay. But it's a big thing. And I'm going to tell you, there's many things that I have been working on or frustrated about. And when Tiff steps in and tells me what I should do, and I listen, part of the reason why I have the first master's degree is because of what Tiff brought to the table. And she is a major factor behind this second master's degree. And I really try to get men to understand is you have to learn to allow your wife to breathe life or to breathe calm into the things that you're dealing with. You have no idea how many times that I wanted to send an angry email about something and she's like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, why? And then she'll explain, KL.
You want bananas?
No, they're not ripe yet. And she's already had enough junk. Wait till it's time for dinner. Go blow your nose, baby. Go get some tissue and blow your nose. Go ahead with mommy. So I definitely wanted to share that because also what you got to realize is that as a unit, the two of you actually are growing and becoming one entity. And the more into your marriage that you are, the more that you and your wife and you and your husband will start to think the same way, speak the same way, do similar things. Now, some people that may sound corny, some people that may sound repetitive, but when there's love and God at the center of it, it is a beautiful thing because that also becomes a form of safety. It becomes a form of blessing because the two of you will already know what the other one needs. So you'll also be able to see when the other one is off kilter. You'll be able to notice when your significant other, something's wrong. And then you can spring into action to fix that. So to the brothers and ladies, share this with the men that you know. You can't play house and understand the power of God. You can't. And I know a lot of people who don't believe in God and all that. I got that. I'm not mad at that. Just say I do. Maybe then he will understand me when I say what you're saying. Tiffany, I'm not going to start that fight, but you're right. So, and I can't make it any clearer for guys. Until you commit to your significant other with God at the center, you're not going to understand what I'm saying is. When God says he's going to look over your marriage, well, what that means is he's going to empower you two together in ways that people outside of your union are not going to understand. Like there's people outside of Tiffinized union that don't understand how we're connected or how we was able to get over the foolishness or how we're able to deal with the ups and downs that we deal with. The reason why they don't understand it is because unless you're in your own marriage and see how God works within that marriage, you're not going to get it. And what I mean by empowered, there are times that there are things that's placed on my spirit to do for the house that I don't even know where the thought came from. But when I sit back and replay it, I realize it came from the Lord. And when I do those things, when I act on those feelings, it makes the household that much better. And as I said in the beginning of this status, is that for a man, especially a man of color, we're not taught how to tap into our emotional side. But to be connected to God and to be connected to your spiritual side, you need to allow those emotions to come to the forefront, because your woman is going to know how to handle that. She's going to know how to treat that in a way that it needs to be treated. She's also going to know how to shape what's going on to get things back to center. So that's also the reason why she takes care of the children and takes care of the home in a certain way, because her ability to set the tone, and that tone is created based on the protection that the husband actually creates. So I know there's a lot of feminists out there that's going to be like, oh my God, you don't know. If you're not involved in it, if you don't understand it, and if you're not committed to God, you're not going to get this. A lot of this is going to sound foreign to what society is actually trying to promote. And I can't help you with that. All I can tell you is that when you're in a committed marriage and you're involved with God at the center, there are going to be things that are going to be connected to the two of you that many people are not going to understand. They're not even going to understand the subtleties. They're not going to understand the body language that speaks loudly to the two people involved, where they could be in a crowded room and have a whole conversation without saying a word, and know when the other person is uncomfortable, and know when the other person is at a point that it's whatever. You're going to get it dirty like that. Get the dress off the floor. She's laying on the floor in the dress too. And so another thing with that is why husbands, you need to listen to your women, is that they've seen you at your best. They've seen you when you're going good. So they know what level that looks like. And so when you're starting to decline and you're starting to look like you're falling into a zone that's just not happening, she's going to notice that. She's going to be the first one to notice that. So if you listen to her, she's going to be one of the first things that's going to head off you getting into a rut, you getting into a bit of depression. And if she's a great wife like mine is, she's going to know what direction to push you in to get you where you need to be and where she needs you. And that's back on your feet and at the forefront of the family. Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't understand that. And so a lot of men don't understand that. So they suffer quietly. They turn to single men to try to get information on being married. No disrespect to my single brothers out there. If you're not involved in a happy marriage, you're not going to understand what that power looks like. You're not going to understand what that emotion is needed. Hey, Sean, what's up, buddy? Hey, Brenda. Hey, Anisha, I saw you pop in there. You're not going to understand that. So in a godly marriage, when a wife, hey, Kate, hey, Kate, what's up, Sean? In a godly marriage, a wife doesn't want to see her husband falling into negative positions. So her first thought is to get this family back to where it's supposed to be. I got to restore my husband. And she's going to do that. And sometimes she's going to do that with just honest, direct conversation, especially if the husband and wife are where they need to be. That communication is going to be there, and it's going to be strong. And I always say to men, learn to listen to your wife. A helpmate is designed to do exactly that, to help you. And when you're in business, like my wife and I, we share a lot of the business duties. I handle all of the business. And my wife will listen to me, but there's times that I actually have to take a step back, and she has to then put me in place to say, you need to leave that alone today, or no, we shouldn't work with that client. And I'll say, why? Thank you, I appreciate it. And this is why we have to learn. And you won't get there playing house. I'm going to say that again. You can't get to where I'm talking about playing house. Even if you were in the midst of a fantastic relationship, if you're a boyfriend and girlfriend, yes, communication has to be strong with your significant other. And it's not all verbal. It is silent body language. It's also spiritual communication. Now, some folks listening to this are going to say spiritual communication. Yes, spiritual communication. Spiritual communication is when your significant other can sense in her spirit something's wrong. She can sense that he's not where he needs to be, or something's happening, and she'll drive at it. And we like to call it nagging. It's not nagging when she knows something's wrong. She's trying to find what it is so she can get to it and help fix it. Spiritual communication, yes. And a lot of people don't understand that because they'll equate it to nagging. It's not nagging when there is something wrong. Also, the husband has to be mindful that when he sees his wife really trying to fix things, humble yourself and allow her to do what God has designed her to do. See, as men, we're testosterone driven. We're hunters, and we were designed to go out and slay the beast and come home and bring it to the family. That DNA is still there. But there's also pride that has to be checked to allow your significant other to breathe calm. Because this is the one thing I always bring up when I talk about us being hunters and stuff of that nature. For a man to go out with other men and kill and do whatever they do, bring the animals and bring the food back, there's a transition between that hunter mode to that father mode. Well, that transition is the wife. Think about it. You come back. You've been in hunter mode. You've been in killer mode. So what do you think is needed when you come back? Well, a good wife already knows. She already knows what you need. She already knows what to have in place when you get back home so you can switch back into daddy mode. That's God given. When you look at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, men who had to go out and put their lives on the line. And I'm just bringing up them, many other men, especially like my friend Sean that's here, goes out, puts his life on the line every day. When they go out and do that, and now they have to come back home, a good wife, a God-connected wife, from the phone call on the way home has already spiritually started to prepare in her mind and in her spirit what's going to be necessary to transform her husband back to her husband, not the civil rights activist, not the officer, not whatever, not the thing that's necessary for him to go out and have that testosterone on the high level. And the reason why we see such damage in marriage now is because we don't have the physical, spiritual, or verbal communication necessary in marriage to be able to get back to a state of calm, which is actually called homeostasis. And homeostasis is a position where the body gets back to a very even position. And the reason why we don't get to that position and we stay in such an amped up mode is because we're not coming home. Very important to disconnect from the hunter-predator mode. Yes, without question, brother, without question. And so many men don't know how to do that, and especially in homes of men of color because they were never taught. Homeostasis, yes, I taught about it. I teach about it often. I used to. I got to remember I'm a former teacher now. I used to teach about it often because it's actually what saves off stress. Now, I'll give you an example. My doctor, I'm a big guy, so one of the first things that people always worry about is, high blood pressure. I don't have it. Never have. My blood pressure is actually 117/71. So my doctor goes, how do you keep your blood pressure so low for a big guy? And I say the one thing is I don't do is get stressed. I don't allow stress to take over. Thank you so much. Yes, I appreciate it, brother. I don't allow stress to take over, but the reason why I'm able to do that is because when I come home, I'm coming home to a wife who makes it beautiful for me to come home. I enjoy coming home. I enjoy picking her up from work. I enjoy being with her and the kids. She understands what to do. Sometimes I'll make dinner. Sometimes she'll make dinner, but she sets the tone in the home that allows me to get back to that homeostasis, that balance. Baby doll, Tiff, bring my charger. Just pull the black one right out the wall. The cord is already connected to it because I'm low battery here. Very important. Yes. Yeah, in the bedroom. Just pull the whole black thing out. Just bring it here. And anybody watching, and if you're watching on replay, again, y'all know who I am. I'm KL Belvin. I just wanted to make sure that I'm getting on a little bit more often. And as I said, I'm trying out a new tripod today. I actually like this, that I'm hands-free now. It's actually a very sturdy tripod. I like this. But the one thing I found in younger married couples, the reason why they have so much trouble at the beginning of their relationships is that they're not the black one. That's for you're using the bedroom. Okay, yeah. All right.
In the bedroom.
Oh, I didn't know that. Here, plug that in right there. I'm thinking, see, listen, see, I was already about to talk and didn't even stop and realize that she had me. See, this is what I'm talking about. Excuse me 1 second. Let me just put this in here. There we go. Okay, excellent. See, listen to your wife. What do you do? Why do you have that? That Mountain Dew?
Oh, I gave her a sip.
No, Lord, don't give that child that, baby. And fellas, sometimes you got to step in and stop your wife because there's a reason why you're the head of the household. There's sometimes you got to put a stop to some foolishness. And she has to in turn listen to you. But again, if you're just getting on, this is the first time that you see me on. I'm KL Belvin. You guys know that. But I want to start sharing more with just some of the things that I've seen that I know work in a marriage. And I don't worry about who gets offended about my position with God. You can always check out. You can always hit delete. But I am a faith-based dude. And what that means is God is at the center of what I do. I'm not worried about what people feel about the faith that I've chose. You will have the right to do whatever or feel whatever way you want. But for me, I'm not going to do it or be a part of it if God is not at the center of it. You got to say this to the... I definitely will. Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely will. Sean, I definitely will. Yes, and it is a two-way street. But that's the thing is that at the center of that street is God. And one of the things that Tiff and I try to explain to folks that what God also brings to the table for you, that when you two are together, now this is very important. God says when two or more are together in his name, he's present. Well, if you're with your wife every day, now stop and feel me on this one. If you're with your wife every day and y'all are both centered on God, that means God is with you and your wife every day. A little trash can, baby doll. This one, put it in that one. I'll get it. No, I'll get it. So imagine that for a second. If God says I am there when two or more people are together in my name, that means every husband and wife who has sworn allegiance to the Lord, God is present with them daily. That is why the marriage is centered on God sustain. The relationships that are centered on God age. And why you see such wonderful old married couples who are connected by their faith and their love. And it's not a joke. So I say all this to say, men, listen to your wives. You married her, trust her. Trust God that he's going to send messages through her that you may not be able to hear at that moment. But if you learn to listen to her, you will see, because you'll see the benefits of why listening to her helps. So again, guys, I appreciate all of you. I wasn't even planning on staying on this long tonight. I was just coming on. Check out my tripod. I really do like this. I like this hands-free thing. I'm digging this. And I'm able to stand or sit. But I got a high, what is this? A breakfast nook. I learned that from my wife too. Yes. Listen to your wife and learn to watch some of those shows that have nothing to do with sex and violence. And all of a sudden you realize, Bella, wow, hello. My lovely Latino BBW friend. Yes, how we go? Haven't seen her in a while. But I'm serious, guy. Hey, Dollar Bill. I didn't see you sneaking there, Dollar Bill. What's going on? Thank you, brother. And Dollar Bill, I got to tell you, man, I appreciate the support, bro. Me and Dollar Bill go all the way back to high school. That is my dude right there. One of the hardest driving truck drivers in the world, man. He's all over the world. But I hope that the wives that are watching, I am good. Thank you so much. I am great. I am blessed. I'm healthy. I'm living in Delaware now. I moved out of New York. The family's here in Delaware. I hope that the wives watching will pass this on to their husbands. I hope that the moms will pass it on to their sons if they're married, daughters pass it on. Share it with folks who are married because we need anchors. We need to know that marriage is real, that God is real, and when you combine the two, you have a winning lottery ticket. We live in a society that basically tells us that marriage won't work. We keep hearing that 75%, 80% of all marriages fail or end up in divorce. What we're not focusing on is how is that other 20 holding on? How is that other 25 holding on? Okay, he's on Jay's phone listening. Cool, there you go. Well, John already know. It took him a while to get there, but he know. It took him a while, but he there. When you allow the Lord to take his place, and when I say you allow, we can't make God do anything. We actually have to allow him in. And when we allow him in, thank you so much. When we allow him in to take his position, and then as husband and wives, we surround ourselves with him center. Let me tell you something, no greater force on the planet. And you can overcome things that you've never dreamed of overcoming in your marriage when God is at the center. There's a reason why that 20%. Hey, what's up, Jay? What's up, brother? How are you, sir? Hope you're learning something. That 20%, I guarantee you, if they would actually stop worrying about the 75 and focused on the 25, you would find that there is a spiritual connection to the husband and wife that keeps them bonded, keeps them grounded. And so, fellas, I'm telling you, when you allow your wife to play her role in your life, she is going to speak life into you. Okay, cool. She is going to speak healing into you. There is no greater healing than when you're frustrated, angry, sore, tired, than the loving hands of a wife, the loving voice of a wife, the loving silence sometimes of just a kiss on the forehead. Sometimes words are not even needed, and they'll come at the right time. And if you don't understand or believe what I'm saying, trust me when I tell you, I'm all man. I'm as tough as they come. But there's something about the kiss on your forehead when your wife is saying goodnight. She's letting you know, thank you for protecting me. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being a part of my life. And then when she lays down, you now have that restarts your battery. That fills your battery up to, I'm going to do this the next day. And when you're frustrated and things haven't gone the way that you wanted it to go for that day, or you had a bad experience at work, or you had something, sometimes the comfort of someone just rubbing your arm and saying, baby, it's going to be okay, will sometimes just cause the fire to just disappear. Now, this takes work now. This is not something that just happens. But if the two of you use God as your focus, God as your guide, as your light, and together move towards that, trust me when I tell you, no one can separate that. And if the two, and that's what the elders knew and they held on to. That's why you don't hear the 25% talked about. Because if you start talking to the 25% and want to find out how they're able to hold it together, you're going to find that it's the one thing that society has been trying to remove from the picture, God. See, man has tried to reduce God to color. Man has tried to reduce God to social status. Man has tried to reduce God to racial divides, financial divides, church divides, whatever. Let's fill your battery. When men do need our battery, yes, we do. And let me tell you something. That term help mate. Think about something. Help. Something that you give to somebody when they're in need. Mate. Someone that is your equal, your match. So listen to that for a second. God has provided you with someone that's going to be there who understands even when you don't. Nothing better than that. And then when you have children that are brought up in that union and they get to see that, they now are filled. They now are connected. They now are charged with that. So then what happens? They tend to look for significant others who are the same as their mother and father. They become like their fathers if they're boys. The girls then tend to look for men like their fathers, and they start to go out and want to recreate that as they get older. Hence, God now being there for them when they're ready to be in the same position. See, God doesn't make it difficult. We do. God does not make it difficult. I don't care whether it's business. Hey, white. I don't care if it's business. I don't care what it is. When you and your significant other have God at the center, you will find that the world cannot penetrate that. And the crazy part is people are shocked because people have given into so much of what society is that they're shocked when they see two people standing ground. They actually try to find, well, what if he cheated? And if you go, well, he did, we're good. What? They literally try to find chinks in the armor. But when you keep the focus on God, those chinks disappear. And as you grow older and grow closer, you don't have the need or want to be with anybody else other than who God has given you. But most people don't give themselves a chance to get there. So to the men watching, give God a chance to show you that marriage is still the coolest game in the book. That's why when Tiff and I talk about making marriage cool again, it is because marriage still is the ultimate find. It's just that no one talks about it that way. Everybody's so busy discarding marriage like clothes. But marriage is still the ultimate union. Still, your physical being, emotional being, and spiritual being changes in a good marriage. You literally don't even breathe the same. Your heartbeat is even different in a good marriage. You see the world differently because you can't imagine the world without your significant other. So you see the world totally different when you and your wife are grounded with God at the center. And then when you add children to that union, you expand your territory. God prepares you for that too. And you still, society can't alter what you have put in place centered around God. And I know a lot of people don't understand that or agree with it because they haven't given it a chance or experienced it. And just because your experiences might have been negative, you can't pin that on God. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and realize you chose the wrong person. I'm a perfect example. I chose the wrong person when I got married the first time. It wasn't about God. It was about convenience. Convenience will never take the place of God. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care what they're doing in their life. If you get married for convenience, it will never work. Hey, Nicole. But when you get married and put God at the center, you'll see things differently. And the crazy part is things that you used to do won't even be enjoyable to you. You'll actually find that some places you just won't even want to go. Some people you won't even want to talk to. And some things you just won't want to do because you're not that person anymore. And that's the other thing that God does for you. He's not going to bring you somewhere and allow you to say, oh, that's not worrying about people, but you still have to deal with people. And that's actually the key. So when you go out into the world, it's not worrying about them. I don't think any husband and wife worry about what people are thinking, but they still have to deal with the people in the world once they leave the house. And when you deal with self, which is what I'm talking about, brother, you're exactly right. When you deal with self, with God at the center, you'll actually notice that, some people will move themselves away because they'll see that there's nothing for them to gain being around you. So the marriage actually comes with built-in fortified defenses. God actually gives you that. Built-in defenses that when you two are centered on him, there is no way in for the person on the outside. They're looking. Well, maybe I can. Well, they're always together. Well, maybe I can. Well, she knows how much money he makes and he knows how much money she makes. They start checking off and going, you know what? I can't figure it out. When you and your significant other are bonded with God at the center, the doors are closed to others who would come in and try to destroy your relationship. They actually give up. And the funny thing is when you stand, hey, Rain. Another wonderful trainer there. Guys, make sure you follow Rain Hudson. Check her out. Oh my gosh, she's incredible. We've known each other since we were young. What happens is, and this is another thing too, when the two of you have been bonded so deep rooted together, some of the same people who look to do you dirty will actually start to sing your praises and become defenders of your union. Now understand what I'm saying. Some of the same people who looked to do you dirty, when they see that there was no way in and they see that what you have is real, something inside them makes them now want to protect your union because it sends a signal there's a chance for them. I have seen people who were anti-me, anti my wife, anti us being together, that now some 16, almost 17 years that we've been together are now defenders of our relationship, supporters of our relationship. They actually prevent others who would look to do us dirty. They prevent it before it even comes to my table. And a lot of it I don't even know about until after the fact. And so a good union does that. And that's actually God at work. When God will take people that was looking to do you and your wife and you and your husband dirty, where they actually now become protectors. Come on. Where else do you see that? Where else do you see it? And because we don't have these conversations, we don't know it to be true. We don't believe it to be true. We believe a lot of what is fed to us. Well, think about it. Money is made off that 75% of people that's getting divorced. They're watching more TV. They're doing more things. They're more involved in the single-minded focus and whatever. And so people make money off that. So they're going to promote things that are anti-marriage. But when you're married, it's about the happiness. It's about the comfort. It's about peace of mind. It's about coming in and being so comfortable you don't have to go anywhere, do anything unless you choose to. See, when you're single, you almost feel like you got to be out there to be close to someone. You got to be doing something. You got to be somewhere because being home and being single and being by yourself is not hot in the street. So we got to get out here and do something. But when you got your significant other and you two are in pocket and you two are together and God is at the center, yo, a quiet night at home is wonderful. Catching up on some movies or just getting some work done in the peace of your home is a beautiful thing. And then when you do go out, you enjoy being out. You ever watch a married couple when they're out? It's not about the excitement. It's about each other. Sometimes having dinner and not even realizing where the time is went. And then deciding, let's just go home. We good. Go to a movie, go to a club and maybe dance a little bit and just say, let's get up out of here. But that's God at work. But again, the reason why we don't see it is because it's not promoted. You got folks that's scared because they figure if we talk about it, then maybe something's going to happen. And if we share our marriage with the world, somebody's going to come and get in between us. And if I tell my girlfriends how good my marriage is, they're going to come and want to be with my husband. And if I tell my boys how good my wife is, they're going to come after my wife. People are going to come after your wife and your husband simply because if they're attractive. So let's keep it real. But when you two are bonded, they don't want to be with nobody else. You don't want to be with nobody else. You don't. And the energy that's required to keep your significant other happy, you ain't trying to share that with nobody else. When you're in something real, you don't have to. And then as the years progress, that bond becomes so tight, the day just wouldn't even be correct if they're not there. That's why you see when elderly folks lose their significant other, they seem lost. When it looks like their whole world has come to a stop and we're sitting around going, you know, you're going to be okay. And they're looking at you like, no, I'm not. It's because they have lost part of their soul. They have lost a part of what God gave them. And that is so difficult to even think about replacing. So as I said at the very beginning, men and ladies, please share this with the men that you know. Men, listen to your wife. Learn that God sent you a wife because he wants to see the two of you grow into something that the world has never seen. You know why? It glorifies him. When people look at you two and want to know what the secret is, and you say, it's God. They look at you like, what? Yes, it's God. Hey, Rain. Oh, Phoenix, what's up, darling? Phoenix Rain in the house. And Lisa, I didn't see you coming. Hey, Lisa. And so, brothers, learn to work towards marriage, not extended dating. Stop with the 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year engagements. If you've been with her that long, you already know. Stop worrying about the financial implications. Hey, darling, stop worrying about the financial implications of the marriage. Stop worrying about the prenups and all the stuff like that. You want to work all that out, work it out. But stop allowing that to prevent you from being where God wants you to be. There's no reason to have these elongated engagements. Now, it's different if he's in service or he has a career that takes him in different places, but there's still no excuse not to be married. Because if he or she is the person, marry him. Marriage is still one of the coolest, not one of the coolest union you can. I can't see my life without my wife. I wouldn't want my life without my wife. And I've done some stupid things, and I pushed right to that edge where I might have almost lost what I had because of ego, pride, and just straight up foolishness. And you need those checks sometimes. You need that little gut check. You need that little thought of, yo, what would I do without her? To realize that you better turn your focus back on her and God and stop paying attention to other things. So I'm as human as anybody else. But the one thing I can tell you is when I've listened to my wife, I've benefited. When I've tried to do it solo in a marriage, nah. So guys, please. Now I'll do another live on yeah, you couldn't trade them now if you wanted to, Tab. I'll do another live on ladies and submitting. Yeah, I said it. I don't know when. Next couple days, I got to get focused on this paper, but I'm going to do a live on submitting because that's the other part of it. I just gave you one part of it tonight from the male's point of view. The other one is submitting. And it's really about submitting to God, not your husband. Because being independent is cool. But when God says, this is what I want, you can't dictate terms to him. You can't tell him what you're going to be when he's already told you the role and position of a wife. You can't try to take what you've put into place and say, well, God, I'm going to bring this to the marriage because this is what I put into place when God has already told you. It's a twofold process. He submits to God, you submit to him, but both you are bound by God. He doesn't take over. He doesn't take over your life. Your husband doesn't rule you. He rules with you. There's a difference, a big difference. Let me say that again. He does not rule you. He rules with you. With God as the focus. Come here, little one. You want to come say hi? No? Okay. Come here, baby. You want to come say hi? I'm on the phone. Come on. Come say. Oh, you can't say hi with that dirty nose. Oh my gosh. Come here. Let's fix that nose. Come here. There we go. Come on. You want to come say hi? There we go. Just say hi. You ain't got to do all that. Say hi. Hi. That's Tammy. And then there's Phoenix Rain and Trisha White and Lisa and Andrew and Rain and Nicole was on. You say hi? Hi. Okay, say bye-bye. Bye. All right, go to mommy. Go ahead. So, yes. She ran off. Yes, when both of you submit, everything works out. But you have to understand, yes, oh, listen. It's been Teddy. It's been the Teddy station on Pandora. That's my Friday night thing, man. Listen, I can't listen to a lot of that new music that's out now. It beats my ears up. So give me some good old fashioned Teddy and that. Listen. So I was hoping y'all was digging in the back. I didn't know if y'all could hear it or not. But seriously, the submission is really to God, both of you. And it is submitting to him because he submitted to God and trusting that God is going to guide you. And the real crazy thing is he will. God will literally come and guide you to and keep you safe and keep you protected because he'll be there when you're hurting. He'll be there when you're at your best. He'll be there when you're at your worst. He'll be there when you've had a loss. He'll be there when your children are sick. He'll be there when you're doing extremely well, and he'll be there when you're doing extremely bad. Pay attention to the people who have gone through some things together in their marriage. You'll see that they always allude to thanking God. They go, well, thank God, and then they're meaning it. It's a big thing. So again, gentlemen, before I jump off, I will answer any questions that you guys may have, and I appreciate you guys being on with me tonight. As I said, I'll be on in a couple of days. We're going to talk about a woman submitting to her husband. I know some women might be upset. I ain't submitting to no man except my daddy. Well, God is your father, so submit to him. And if God says submit to that man, well, your daddy spoke. I always find that funny when I hear women say, I ain't submitting to nobody. I'm like, okay, you better watch that book you're reading, because that's not what that book says. But also, just pay attention. Think for a second. When a real man, now key word, real man. When a real man assumes his position in your life, firm, feet on the ground, sound connection to who he is, what you got to worry about? What you got to worry about? It actually does something to you. Now, come on, ladies. Don't act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. When you are with a real man who you know got you, who stands there and lets you know inside and out he got you, there is something that literally starts to go crazy inside you. So the submission is not a bad thing. It's just really the man having to do his part. And that's what I'm going to talk about when I talk about the submission. It still comes down to the man coming to you correct. He still has to be the man that he's supposed to be before you even think about submitting to him. Why would you? I tell women all the time, you don't submit to no clown until he has himself together where he can approach you the way you're supposed to be approached. And that means treating you like the queen you are, but a queen is still royalty. A queen still has power. Yes, a real man takes his position at the head of the household. And he also understands. Yes, when it happens, it's the greatest feeling in the world. That's why I mean, when we talk about submitting, you're not submitting to foolishness. You're submitting to something that's healing and growing you. I tell young girls all the time, go ask a woman that's been in a real marriage what that looks like when you hear submit. She has no problem because she knows her man has her back, has proven it time and time again. KL, stop that. Give me that fly swatter. Swatting imaginal flies. Give me that fly swatter. Come here. Bring that here. This one here, boy. Woo. Come here. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Thank you. Go to mommy. Here, get this to mommy. Show her that it came off. Go ahead. So listen, guys, I'm going to get ready to go. I got to make dinner for the wife and daughter. I will definitely be on in a couple of days. I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe Sunday night, maybe Monday night. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to come on and talk about the woman's side of this. Share this with all the men that you know. And if anybody has any questions, I put my email address up. Let me go it again. If you need to reach out. Also, let me say this. I have a new manager, Keisha Frazier. So let me see if I can bring up Keisha Frazier's, what's her name? She is now my manager. She will be handling all of my affairs. So it'll come up as Keisha Green. There we go. So if you need to reach out,